Conceive, believe, achieve.
This is former UFC middleweight champion of the world, Michael Bisping.
Paddy the Baddy here. You're listening to Combat Sports UK.
And you're watching Combat Sports UK.
Hey everybody, before you jump into this week's Combat Sports UK podcast, I've got some exciting news for you. Do you want to look as stylish as Thomas Shelby when you train? Do you want to experience the comfort that can only be achieved by a cup of tea on a cold day? Well, good news for you guys. Ex-Martial has partnered with us, Combat Sports UK. They are the fastest growing brand in martial arts for a reason. They are making waves and taking practitioners with their slick, stylish, and hilarious designs that are fit for a king. From rash guards to shorts, streetwear, and more, Ex-Martial has got you covered. Ex-Martial is an extremely community-oriented brand, having given away over $50,000 in free gear last year alone, as well as sponsoring over 300 athletes. And if you shop using the code CSUK10 at checkout, you can get 10% off everything in store. That code again is CSUK10 at checkout. Go and check out xmartial.com and enjoy the fight. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Combat Sports UK YouTube channel. I'm joined once again by a man who's been dipping his headphones and microphone in petrol in preparation for this podcast. As of course, in reference to Tom Aspinall apparently dipping his hands in petrol ahead of the fight. My good friend, Jonathan Gamebred Boguslavski. How are you, sir?
Good. I think you confirmed I have the second hardest knuckles in this game. Doing pretty well. What about you, Taylor?
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. Just melting in the Spanish heat during the summertime, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So we'll just touch very quickly. Vina Jandiroba to get a title shot. Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I think that we discussed that in our previous podcast. I think we are clearly a win against the former title holder. Nobody else in the division could challenge Whaley right now, so makes sense. Yeah, I agree.
All right, that'll do. So UFC 304 fight week is well underway. We are on the ground actually in Manchester. One of our guys is there, so be sure to check out everything on the YouTube channel with media day interviews. We got some Molly McCann in there. We got Cowlin Loughran in there. Some Bilal Muhammad, we'll forget the name. And hopefully some Leon Edwards from Aspinall as well. So be sure, keep across our socials and the YouTube for everything around that. But we're here to discuss the prelims. But before we discuss the prelims, we discuss a fight that is now on the main card. First of all, what I want to ask you, John, is why do you think Manel Kape and Mohamed Mokaev has not only been bumped from the main card to the prelims, but it seems like it's been bumped to the early prelims? I mean, that's a slap in the face, right? Surely.
For them, I believe so, yeah. But I do believe Leroy Duncan and Kape Rodrigues would be a more entertaining fight compared to Mokaev versus Manel Kape. And I'm a big fan of Duncan. RoboCop always brings it. He's always fun to watch, so I'm not going to complain. I don't know. I think I heard it's going to be the featured prelim. So will be the fight right before the main card kicks off. But either way, it's a slap to the face for both of them, especially for either of them that are going to call out Pantoja and try to fight for the belt after.
Yeah, I mean, do you think it's a style? Like, do you think it's a mix of Mokaev's style and Manel Kape's inability to actually fight? Like, or do you just think, do you think there's something else going on here? Because I think Mokaev has also said in media day today, or if it was before that, that this is actually the last fight on his contract. So he doubly needs the performance now, right?
Absolutely. It's for your last fight in your contract. You think if you get a win, you get the title you get a chance to fight for the title, and you're kind of a three-way competition versus Tatsuro Taira and the future fight with Kara France and Steve Ercek. You gotta outshine everybody. So and we've talked about it in our last podcast when we thought we're in their main card that he's not a fan-friendly fighter, as in he always sniffs the crotch and tries to take people down, just hopefully finishes them there, which he did in the last few fights.
I'm going to fight back. Even though you have been dipping your hands in petrol, I'm going to fight back on this one. I have just checked the UFC website, and it is on the early prelims. It is on the early prelims. It's before the Oban Elliott Preston Parsons fight, so it's the fourth fight of the night. So just after Sam Patterson, Keith Crosby. Look, man, I might be contradicting myself, but I don't know where this comes from. I think Mokaev has had one bad fight, maybe two bad fights at most. Other than that, he's finished everybody, right? You think about what he did earlier in his UFC career. Look, we're banging the same drum again anyway. It's odd. I think it's really, really odd to have these two guys who, in theory, they get a win, a good win, like we said, could jump to a title shot. It just seems odd to me that they're both on the early prelims, but maybe it is a bit of the UFC saying, "Hey, Manel, you've got to sort out your fighting, and Mokaev, you've got to sort out your style because it's not doing anything for somebody." So let's go with.
Sorry, just to say something, and
Go ahead.
maybe this probably will lead into the conversation, but just maybe where the UC sees where Christian Leroy Duncan is in his career.
Yep.
He's also a Brit. He's fighting in the UK, opening the main card right before Patty. So maybe that's where the UC sees him as, and sees because Rodriguez is kind of like, hey, you beat this guy, you might be able you right around the top 15, especially of the middleweight division. So you could have some good fights coming up for Leroy Duncan. So you're just trying to see. I think this is where DC sees him at, just like in UFC 297, where Mike Malott, after 3 UFC fights, fought against Neil Magny for a ranking in Canada.
Yeah.
It's just where they see UFC sees him where he's at and try to jump him into probably a ranking in his next fight if he gets a big win here.
Yeah, so let's jump into that one, man. Gregory Rodrigues coming off a 2-fight win streak, a finish of Brad Tavares in the third round. Hey, it's always tough to finish Brad Tavares.
Yep.
And a finish of Dennis Tululan in the first round. Christian Leroy Duncan also coming off 2 wins with 2 finishes in the second round. Claudio Ribeiro being the most recent one. And funnily enough, Dennis Tululan being the one before that in round 2 as well. I mean, look, you've already kind of said you like Christian Leroy Duncan a lot. I mean, what stood out about him to you? What's got you cheering him on, so to speak, in this fight?
I think the obvious is the finishes, right? The knockout power. He always goes for the finish. And since in the UFC, he's only been finishing people except the one loss he has on is it Petrosyan?
Yeah,
Petrosyan.
yeah.
And he's Petrosyan's not easy to finish as well. Like if you look at his record, he's like kind of up and down. He's a fun fight you'd put like on a fight night to see as a fight of the night potential type fighter. So I wouldn't, and it was a unanimous decision loss too. So I wouldn't take too much away from Leroy Duncan. He still went 3 rounds. He has that experience now going 3 rounds.
Yeah.
And in his career, he only has 1 decision lost, which is Arman, and Arman's a seasoned vet in the UFC, I think. So I'm impressed with Leroy Duncan. I love his elbows. I think his elbows are top notch, clutch. He throws them at perfect timing. He knows how to land them. He's still a young prospect. He's only 29 years old. So he's in his prime right now. No better time. So I think big win here. Jump him into the rankings at middleweight. I could even see him fighting like a guy like Joe Pyfer, but Joe Pyfer's not in the rankings. A guy like Jack Hermanson, Vittori might be too much, but like Michael Olejczyk, Kevin Holland at middleweight if Holland is going for money fights. So
wherever he decides he is,
wherever he decides he is, he's gonna be a fun fighter to watch no matter what. And RoboCop, we know his accolades. He hits like a truck. He could take a punch like a madman, and he will keep moving forward. That's what they call him, RoboCop. I still remember the nasty gash he had over his eye when he got his eyebrow ripped off, and it was the nastiest cut Dana saw at the time. So just going to be just a fun fight. So I think you can't go wrong with watching this as the main card. And I think people probably will be more excited than Kape, who people have been shitting on lately because he canceled a lot of fights, or Mokaev, who a lot of people are shitting on him as well for not his fan-friendly style.
Yeah, I can see that. I can absolutely see why they have put this on the main card. And this was almost one of those fights where you're like, okay, if it's not the featured prelim, It should be on the main card. And Nathaniel Wood has kind of held that featured prelims a lot, I think, since the card was pretty much announced. So this is a banger of a fight to have right in the middle of the card. You know, this is kind of like echoes of those MSG, you know, third fight type of slot, you know. I think it's really, really exciting and a really fun fight to have before the big boys throw down and just after the Arnold Allen. Is it after Arnold Allen? I think it is. After the Arnold Allen fight as well. So should be an absolute banger. As for Christian Leroy Duncan, man, his style is so fun. I think this makes for such a fun fight. I think if you're Gregory, you're looking to make this a grappling fight as quickly as you can. Try to get to the ground because Rodriguez, I think, is he not under Jacare Souza? So
I wouldn't be surprised. They're both Brazilians. They're both.
If you can, that's what you do. That's what you do. You try and wrap up CLD. Try and get him to the floor. Try and avoid that cage game. You know, because one thing that I think Christian Duncan does really well is he cuts off the cage really well and he puts on that forward pressure and puts his opponents against the fence quite often. He had a lot of success. I watched the Ribeiro fight yesterday in preparation for jumping on with you. And that's exactly what he did, man. He just put the guy against the fence and just battered him. He just battered him for the first round. And then in the end, in the second round, it was just too much. So I think that's your game plan if you're Gregory, if you're Robocop. But the dude loves a scramble. The dude loves loves a bar fight. So this could well be what it is. And this could well be done within a round, man. This could be absolute fireworks. Get them in, get them out quickly. It'll be, I mean, main card starts at 3 a.m. So this will be 4:30, 4 o'clock in the morning, UK time. So this will be the one to get people back awake.
If this is main card, it's gonna be start. Oh, main card starts at 3 in UK.
Yeah.
So 3:10 should be going on and should be a quick night. I also agree. I think first or second round knockout, and we'll get the people right back in, especially if the boos are still going.
Yeah, man. I think it could be one of those where if Arnold Allen loses, because that fight is really close. I think the Allen Jakadze fight, and it kind of takes the air out of the room a little bit, especially that time in the morning. This could be the fight that reignites people, gets people back up, ready for Tom, ready for Leon. I think it's a banging choice to have on that main card. And no, I agree with you. It's a better fight stylistically, entertainment wise, to have on the main card than Mokaev versus Kape. But I don't think Mokaev deserves to be where it is. But we've had that conversation. So super fun fight. I mean, as it's the main card, we've got to do our predictions for that as well to kind of see where we think. So how do you think this is going to go down?
Second round knockout, baby. Christian Leroy Duncan in front of his home crowd gets away with I think he's gonna throw some nice elbows, some beautiful Muay Thai in there, and then get the finish in the second round. Yeah,
I can see that happening, man. I think it's going to be first round, and I think he's going to really announce himself because he's one of those, like, in terms of the UK fighters, he's flying a little bit under the radar. There's not that much hype about him in the UK at the moment, as there is for your for your Paddies, for your Mollys, Nathaniel Wood, Lerone Murphy, people like that. You know, he's not at that Tom Leon level, but he's definitely. I think this is the fight to announce him to the UK crowd. And I think the UFC are really smart doing what they're doing, especially considering the middleweight division. There's some seriously fun fights for him in that top 15, man. Seriously fun fights.
And what about the motivation of getting bumped from early prelims to main card in your home country? So I think it's the motivation to come out and get a finish and get a better or have a strong fight will be super high.
Yeah, and it would be really interesting to see his media day to kind of see what he's saying, see what the vibe's like. I haven't seen anything of him on Embedded.
I don't think he's out. Yeah, I don't think he came out for media day just yet, but he should be out soon, right?
Yeah. He should
I don't know what time is it in the UK right now.
I mean, it's 8:15 for me. So yeah, 7:15 in the UK. So who knows? But he should be a lot of fun, Mark. He should be a lot of fun. Right.
Agreed.
Next, I mean, we got a lot of prelims here, a lot of good people to talk about. So I'll throw to you first. I mean, who jumps out at you from that stack of prelims that we've got there?
I think I'm gonna steal it from you, but Colin Lugran versus Jake Hadley. I think that's gonna be a really fun fight. Colon in his last fight really impressed me, and what he did. And Jake's trying to bounce back from his loss. Like, he's also a big kind of prospect coming out of the UK, because I remember him on the Contender Series. He missed weight, but he did get a first round submission, if I'm not wrong, very impressively.
Yeah.
Dana broke his rule to get him to the UC. He's like, if you miss weight, I'm not taking UC. But he saw something in Jake, and then Jake lost, obviously, I think 2 fights now. He lost his UC debut. He lost to Johnson in his last fight, and Johnson's on a roll now. So I'm expecting a big bounce back for Jake, because he did take he still took a fight relatively soon since his last fight. I believe it's been a couple 3-4 months now. So he's bouncing back in the UK. I mean, and then Colon just
Yeah, 2 months. He lost to Charles Johnson in May.
Yeah, there you go, in May.
A
So
very quick turnaround.
Quick turnaround. I think he's looking for a big bounce back, and no better guy than right now Colon. He dominated his last fights against Angel. I heard he's big in Cage Warriors. He pretty sure was a flyweight champion in Cage Warriors. If he could get more of a finishing game going in the UFC, because I know he has 5 wins by knockout, 2 by submission, 2 by decisions. Yeah. If he gets more of a finishing ways back in the UFC, because he hasn't finished anybody in the UFC yet, if he get a finish, I think we'll see a big stardom for him, especially another Irish guy, this time in flyweight. We have Ian Gary, we had Connor. And we know the Irish fans always the Irish fans always look after their own. So that will be the fight I'm looking forward to. And probably the second fight tonight, Mick Parkin. I feel like we had interviews with him. He's also on the channel.
Yeah.
Am I wrong? Yeah. And again, another UK guy, 9-0, big heavyweight dude. See if he can continue his winning streak. He hasn't lost yet. They're giving him a guy who's wouldn't say easy, but definitely probably a veteran. A lot more, probably just more fight experiences, but all the fight experiences Lucas Bresky has is in losses. So as long as Mike can bring it, I don't see a problem for him in this fight.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy, man. He's a really, really interesting guy. I had a great time chatting to him for the channel, so definitely go check that interview out. We got, I think, 2 or 3 with him. You can kind of go through the back catalogue and see kind of him coming through. I mean, he's part of that big, I don't know how aware you are of it, but they basically, Tom Aspinall's dad basically created a heavyweight gym in the north of England. And it's just where all these monsters just go and train. It's like the monster movies, right? Like Godzilla and King Kong and Mothra and all them. Right, that's basically what they've got in the north of England. Is kind of like this big setup. And Mick travels between 2 camps. He trains there, and he also trains back in Sunderland under Andrew Fisher at the Fish Tank, which is another great gym with a lot of up and coming fighters. And Mick's fascinating, man. I really love his style. I watched the Mohamed Usman fight in preparation for that interview, and the guy's just a really, really smart fighter. You know, he's not quite got the speed of a Tom Aspinall or anybody like that, but he is in that new wave of heavyweights. It feels like that's been coming for the last 5 years, right? These new
old new school.
Yeah, the old new school. These guys, Cyril, Tom, and Mick, I feel like their hands are so much better and they're so much faster on their feet as well. Like Mick's a big boy, but he is fast on his feet and he can move. And that's what he's got. Against Mohamed Usman, he used the jab and the left low kick really, really well. So let's see if he implements this again. But I think he needs a finish. There's a reason he is the second or third fight on the card?
Second fight.
That second fight, right? And that's because he's not quite doing it for Dana and Hunter and everybody. You know, you can see how kind of his style would bring those questions, but he needs a big fight. He needs a finish. I think it is in his locker. And he's one of those, similar to Loughran and Jake Hadley. I feel like these guys are kind of guys who are just yet to explode in the UFC. But as soon as they do, it's all the way to the top. Like any of those 3 guys we just talked about.
But compared to Colon, it's his 3rd fight in the UFC, so he's definitely like he's due for a finish. He's 1-1.
Yeah.
You know, maybe UFC debut kind of nervous, step up competition from Cage Warriors to UFC, but definitely need a finish. And
Yeah.
finishes, no one's gonna complain, kind of, as long as it's not like last second after 3 rounds of holding the person down and you kind of realize, you know, I gotta get a finish to win. As long as it's an impressive, dominant performance, people remember and they'll keep you in the UFC.
Yeah. I mean, look, depending what the finish is, those other, 2.5 rounds, 3.5 rounds can be forgotten about, right? Depending what the finish looks like. So
Exactly, yeah. If
you
the
never
finish
know.
was impressive out of nowhere and you pull it off, and it's like you could be kind of the one of the finishes of the month kind of type
Yeah,
thing. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly. I mean, you look at, I mean, one example that stands out in my head is Paul Craig and Kalaev, right?
Oh,
I
there
don't
you go.
remember
Exactly.
how that fight was, but I just know Paul Craig pulled up a triangle from nowhere
10
and
seconds
then subbed
left.
the dude, right? So you never know. And I think those three guys, those three guys, Mick, Jake, and Cowlen, they need to, they need to get the fireworks started. They need to kind of make the name for themselves in the UFC and get people talking about them, because they're all tremendously talented. Jake Hadley especially. I don't think he's looked as good as he could in the
Hmm.
UFC yet. I think there's a lot more to come from him. So yeah, those two fights are really fun. And I want to dig in a little bit to Molly
Hmm.
McCann. I mean, obviously she's massive in the UK, huge obviously in the northwest of England in Liverpool. How does she translate across to your shore?
I think we kind of do know her. She probably isn't definitely as big as she is in the UK, in England. Um, we all know because of her friendship with Patty, her knockout of a spinning back elbow
Mm-hmm.
of I forgot her name,
Is
but
it Luna Brazil or something like that?
no,
She fought this weekend.
she's fighting this. Yes.
She
Is it
just fought.
Eve Edwards?
No, Eve Edwards is a dude.
Oh, sorry. Oh,
Luana
who am I talking?
Carolina.
Luna Carolina? No,
Yeah,
that was in the spinning back elbow.
yeah, she hit
Oh,
two.
Luna,
She
yes,
hit
it was. It was. My
she
bad.
hit she
Yes.
hit that one. She hit that one in that was the one I was at. Uh,
Yeah, and then
um,
Hannah Goldie the time
and then
after.
Hannah Goldie, she did it in her next fight. But the Luana
So
Carolina one was the one where she was just flatlined.
yes,
The Hannah Goldie
flatlined,
one,
and
it
she
was them for
ran out the
punches.
cage. Yeah, she ran out the cage, did a little cringe moment, and like I'm a hockey guy in the NHL. I don't know if the UK guys will know, but it's a superstition that if you touch the Stanley Cup, which is the cup you win at the end of the playoffs, you touch it, let's say when you're a child or something like that,
Yeah,
you will not win it again. There's a superstition, if you touch it, you can't win it.
yeah,
So to me, that superstition translates to you see that you touched a belt already, even though it's a fake belt. It's a bad omen.
yeah, no
However,
good.
that's not good. However, she bounced back when she went to 115. She fought against my girl Diana,
Yep, the Annabelle
and
Beater,
she
yeah.
got the first round armbar. And I think we spoke at length with her after. Like we could see her fighting against Michelle Larson Gomez at the time. We could see her
Yep,
fight
yep, yep.
against. We spoke at length to her, and this is the fight that she had. She had a long break because her last fight was when in February.
Mm-hmm.
So February, and it's been now we're in the 7th month. So it's been 5 months. She had a time to recover from there, start a training camp, get a good diet going again to make 115 for this fight, and keep the momentum going. Because yeah, she when she kind of did step up in competition, Erin Blanchfield, we all know her. Blanchfield was number 2 in the
Yeah.
flyweight. She just fought a title leader against Marina Faryad. That's her only loss in the UFC. Then she fought Yulia Staryenko. She got caught in the armbar, so stuff shit happens. You got caught, but then to come back and do your own armbar, be like, okay, look, I dropped down the weight. I didn't do that much of a dramatic change, but I still cut 10 pounds, and then fight Diana, who I'm pretty sure she already won against earlier in her career.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, yeah, it was a
She already
rematch.
won bench chance decision, and now she fought her and got a first round finish. You could see the progress in her. You want to continue that progress, and like Bruna Brazil, I mean, I'm not gonna hide it. She's not like the best fighter of all time. She's not gonna be. I don't think she's gonna be even ranked in the UFC in her career. but it's a good step up, especially with Bruna Brazil coming off Contender Series, getting a head kick knockout.
Yeah.
And then Bruna Brazil, you can see she can get knocked out in her, as evident in her first or second UFC fight. So Molly want to keep that momentum going, prove she is the finisher that she is, because I could only if I think about her wins, I could only think about the wins about by finish.
Mm-hmm.
So keep that momentum going and get a big pop in the UK. Is it in the O2
Yeah,
Arena?
it's in the Co-op
Co-op.
arena in Manchester, which is a
Manchester.
new arena. I think it opened to a bit of controversy. Like there was all kinds of problems with it. Opened earlier this year, and it had like pop concerts and things like that. So yeah, she'll get a big pop. She's a big star. Yeah, just looking at a Bruna Brazil there. Her last fight was against Loma Lookboonmee, and she lost that unanimous decision. I mean, Loma's a Muay Thai striker,
Yeah.
so that's obviously where the weakness is, right? So I would think if Loma can beat Bruna Brazil, then Molly can. I mean, there is an underlying narrative here for Shauna Bannon. Shauna and Molly are very, very good friends, so she kind of wants to get that one back because obviously Bruna beat Shauna in Shauna's UFC debut this time last year,
Yeah.
or on the
Who's also
March.
fighting on this card.
Yeah, she's also fighting on this card. So there is a bit of a narrative. It's always an interesting one with Molly. Like, how far can she go in the UFC? With her, I think it's always a question of mindset. It's not a question of ability and toughness because I think it's fight IQ. I think with her, a big thing is fight IQ, not getting herself like the Erin Blanchard one. Okay, but the Stolyarenko one to me was a really, really bad loss. I thought that was a really bad loss. She got herself in a really dumb position and then just got armbarred by a girl who specializes in armbar. Like that's how she finishes fights. So don't put your arm there, basically. And that's what Molly did. So I think it's a fight IQ question. I think, her ceiling could be top 5, just, 6 or 7 maybe, because you look at the rankings now anyway, and you see obviously Zhang Wei Li's the champ. She doesn't stand a chance against Zhang Wei Li, I don't think. But you look at those like Marina Rodriguez, Mackenzie Dern. That would be a fun fight, right? Amanda
Sean
Thibas,
Swan. Yeah.
Angela Hill.
Amanda
Angela Hill,
Lemos.
McCann would be
Like
a fun
everybody.
fight. Yeah, exactly.
And they're all
would
kind of
be.
stand up fighters too. And like Molly can punch. Molly can stand
Yeah.
up. So it's a fight IQ. And especially with her name recognition, it wouldn't be a problem for her to jump up the rankings really quickly and potentially fight for a title shot.
No, for sure, for sure. The only thing she does have working against her now is her age. She's 34. So, we know about the curse with men's MMA. Nobody welterweight down from age of 35 has got nearer winning a title. So, yeah, she's going to move. She's going to move quick. I think she's got to do the next year. She's got to try and get 3 fights in, this being the first of which, or even you could probably count the Belbita one as the first of those fights. Try and get ranked by the end of this year, early next year. Try and beat someone in the rankings. I think that Angela Hill fight is a really good fight. It's one that Angela would take as well. Like Angela's that type of fighter that she would take that fight.
And
So yeah, because
yeah,
exactly. And you never know. It could be like the headline of an Apex card or something like that. You never know.
absolutely, yeah. Especially with the name. That name with her name, you could do a lot of things. And her age, yeah, I agree with you. That's why you gotta kind of hurry it up. You gotta win in the beginning of the year. Now it's the middle of the year.
Yeah.
Get another win in front of your fans. Then you could probably fight for a ranking, especially with the division being so weak.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, with the way the division is, it's ripe for the picking for Molly. She seems to have sorted out the weight issues. Like she looks in ridiculous shape. I think I was watching maybe Paddy's blog or something the other day, and she just looks in ridiculous shape. Ridiculous shape. So that's good. Going into this fight, the mindset's right. She seems positive. She seems happy. If her and Paddy keep surging the way they are, there's no reason you can't do another UFC Liverpool next year, because you could sell out any arena in Liverpool. Yeah, as a fight night with them two, headline by Paddy, co-headline by Molly. Bang, you've done it, right? That's
you get MVP on that card too.
You could get MVP on there. They've got Luke Riley is coming through the Contender Series. He's a big one to look out for. He's a Scouser as well, so they could easily fill up a Liverpool card.
Darren Till comes back to UFC, maybe even.
Who knows what that guy's doing?
Yeah.
Who knows? So there's a lot of excitement, and I really want her to do well, as long as Paddy does well, because there's a lot of exciting things for the two of them. Let's just see where her ceiling is, but I think that's what she can do. I can see her getting through this fight relatively easy, to be honest. So let's see what else we've got on here. I mean, Nathaniel Wood is a good one to talk about, just becoming a dad. So he's kind of got that dad motivation. I always remember Cowboy Cerrone talking about that. I think it was after the Mike Perry fight, was it, or something, where he was like, "Yeah, just being a dad's just changed my mindset." So it could do
Cowboy
to
also
Nathaniel Wood as well.
Cowboy also hated Mike Perry.
Yeah,
From,
exactly. That helps. That helps.
I
Yeah,
just
Nathaniel
meant
Wood, Daniel Pineda. Go on.
yeah. Well, Pineda, this is I was gonna say talk about that, but Pineda is his second stint in the UFC, right? He got cut. He went to I know he was at Bellator. I think he was at LFA as well, or PFL.
PFL, wasn't it?
And he was PFL, then Bellator, and then back to UFC now. So I think it just Pineda has probably more motivation for this fight. Like he wants to stay in the UFC after being in 4 organizations in the past 7 years, I would say. So he wants to probably get a name stake. He's also 38 years old. He's definitely on the older side. Nathaniel Wood he was at 135, I remember, and then he's like he lost and he's like moved up 145. So probably the weight cut messed him up a little bit, but I think Nathaniel is still a good fight. Still a good fighter. He's definitely facing somebody who has 15 losses in his career. You have to make it look like it's easy and show that you belong to UC. Like you wouldn't get cut like Pineda did and keep showing and climbing up the rankings.
And I think when you look at this fight, you only have to look at the level of competition, right? Nathaniel Wood has wins against Andre Feely, Charles Jourdain, and Charles Rota. I mean, they're great names, man. They're solid fighters. And then when you look at Pineda, he's got losses to Alex Caceres, Cub Swanson, people like that. You know, his biggest win is probably Tucker Lutz or Herbert Burns. You know, when you look at them, they're not great names. They're not great wins. They're not highly skilled fighters. I think this for me, what this fight screams is, do you remember UFC Paris, the first UFC Paris card, I think, Robert Whittaker versus Marvin Vettori?
Yep.
You remember that fight, right?
Of course.
And what happened in that fight?
Whittaker dominated Marvin Vettori for 3 rounds.
Exactly. He put on a masterclass, right? So I think copy paste, that's what this fight is going to be. This fight is going to be Nathaniel Wood putting on an absolute striking masterclass. Like, I'm really confident about this fight. Like, if I had a house, put a house on it, right? Throw all the money in on Nathaniel Wood.
Speaking of Vettori, I know it's unrelated. What's happening with this dude? Because he fought in the UK against Elite last time.
He did. Yeah. Hasn't been seen since, right?
Like, and he got a robbery win over him, but like,
it's a good question.
Remind me about Vettori. Like, he was top. I know he wasn't the favorite fighter, but like, what the hell is he? Anyways, but yeah, not that I wouldn't say as much stakes as Whittaker versus Vettori for Wood versus Pineda.
No, not the stakes. I mean the performance. That's what I'm referring to.
If that's the performance he has, that's going to be 4 against 4 vets in the featherweight division with Rosa, Jourdain, Philly. I mean, you're up there. You're definitely going to be close to the rankings. You just beat everybody. Caceres was just ranked. Caceres just beat, was it Rosa? A few fights ago. So you're just around that top 15. And your buddy Arnold Allen is right in front of you there too. You're fighting right after or right before him. So you're definitely gonna look at like, hey, if you make a better performance than Allen, that's probably who you're gonna be comparing it to, because you know they're both Brits, both featherweight. One's ranked, one's not ranked. See how he does and see if he can actually climb up the rankings.
Yeah, and look, man, he's got beef with Lerone Murphy. Them two do not like each other. So there's always that you can kind of pull those strings on. If you do manage to get ranked, you pull that one back.
But Murphy is on a different level, I think. Murphy he's on fire right now. Yeah.
That guy looks good. So yeah, definitely tune into that fight. we've got Nathaniel Wood on the channel from earlier this year. I think before he had his kid. It's an incredible interview, man. He talks a lot about mental health. He talks a lot about the struggles as a fighter, and then he talks a lot about his own process and how he manages. He's got a clothing brand. He's involved in a lot of development and charity work with dogs and things like that. A really, really interesting guy. I think it's one of the longer ones we've got, actually, about 25 minutes. Fascinating individual. I think this is going to be an incredible performance. And then I'd love to see him go and fight somebody like an Edson Barboza, right, to get that ranking. That would be an incredible fight, especially if he has a good striking performance. Any fight with Edson Barboza is a good fight, isn't it? So you can always look at that.
True. Yeah, and Barboza, he's not looking bad right now too. Like he fought Leron Murphy. He almost finished Leron.
Yeah. And he's kind of like
he's kind of
evergreen. He's kind of evergreen, isn't he? Like he's always just going to be good, even if he's
always going to be
years
good.
old.
And you catch him on the right day,
yeah,
you're good. Like Barboza always main event too, so you'll be up for a main event spot with him, and it depends what kind of day you catch Barboza on, but I don't see this. You can't have a bad fight with Barboza.
No, you can't. So hopefully that's it for Nathaniel Wood, but that's what I'm predicting anyway. Any other ones you want to just dive into quickly that people can look out for? I think Oban Elliott, Preston Parsons. Preston Parsons is a bit of a spoiler, so that could be a really interesting fight. What about you, mate? Anything else you're looking forward to?
Personally, maybe Shauna Bannon versus Alistair Dillian.
Yeah.
Just for personal reasons. No, I just want to see how Shanna continues her UFC career. She has it's a short notice fight for Alice. I don't know Alice too much of her other than her Instagram, but they should be interesting how she does. They have her ranked number. She has Alice ranked as like Topology is Alice ranked as number 1 in Europe.
Okay.
Or in Romania to fighter. Number 1 in Romania, number 31 in Europe, and they have Shauna's number 69 in Europe. So it'll be cool to see according to Topology, Alice is better. She fought in other organizations. It's her first fight you see short notice. I definitely think it's a trap for Shauna. You gotta watch out for that. It's a trap. You gotta watch out for that.
Gift.
Exactly. Gotta watch out for that. Sam Patterson hasn't been looking too bad in UFC. And I would say just see how Modestas Mokaev bounces back. He got cut. Well, he got his leg broken, got cut, bounced back. He's been kind of winning. So let's see how he does against Marcin Praccio. Was Marcin on the channel, or am I confusing with somebody else?
I don't think so. Not that I know of.
Well, I think there's just a fight to see, kind of like I have a fun fight, potential fight at night in prelims until main card gets going. So let's see how Modestas could bounce in his second stint in the UFC.
Yeah, very nice. Well, listen, everybody, thanks again for tuning in. Stay on the channel. We got loads coming up from this week. As I say, we're on the ground in Manchester. However you're consuming the fights, please enjoy them. Jon and I will be back next week to unravel everything, and we can finally forget the name of Bilal Muhammad. Jon, as always, thank you very much, my friend. Stay away from the petrol. Definitely don't go sniffing it.
How can you?
All right, take care, brother.
See you, everybody.